Hello! In today's video, we are going to be doing a heat map again for the Heights of Power event. The Heights of Power event just concluded about a day ago, so yeah, I went ahead and made the heat map, and this is my fourth time doing this. So at the end of this video as well, there will also be like a comparison of the previous sheets, and that should end up being pretty cool. Now, of course, we are also going to take a look at the 3 most competitive servers and the 3 least competitive servers, but in case you were wondering what the skin looks like, this is where the people who have won the city theme on our server have met up, and a bunch of other servers that also had a bunch of people in the top 10, etc. have also done this, so it's cool to see people with this skin all together. I will say, this is definitely the most, I want to say, like, imposing skin that's ever been made, because it like taints the air all around it. There was also the skin in the past, which was pretty recent. I guess it was actually a year ago, or 9 months ago at least. This archer skin was pretty cool as well, especially the like little effect that the thing on the top did. But like most of the other skins, I guess maybe like the first mage one had this thing above it, but yeah, no, this is definitely the craziest it's ever been, and the craziest it will ever be up until maybe we get this skin, but this one's kind of chill too. Anyways, let's get into the video, but of course, if you do get value from the video, please do me a favor for liking it, because this type of video definitely does take a lot of time over a large time period. So like for this one, it was a few hours just to even get onto the accounts to log in, and then take screenshots, and then input the data, and then make the sheet. So yeah, thanks for the support, and let's get into the top 3 kingdoms by power ranking for the 10th placement. So here we are in the 3rd most competitive bracket here. You can see this is Echo's bracket, where Echo got the majority of skins, but the other alliance here, FG, also got a couple. I was considering on doing something where I tracked like how many people got 30 million power, but that isn't really a useful metric because people can have seals stored from previous Heights of Power events, so it doesn't really tell you how many people are going for this skin, and now people could also be going for the throwback skin as well. So we just kept it the same and tracked the top 10. So Ranger here in 10th place with 58,170,068 power. That's pretty crazy, but this is only the 3rd highest. Let's move on to the 2nd highest. And here we are now with the 2nd highest bracket. As you can see, WB got 9 of the skins, and then 1 person, or 9 of the top 10 placements at least, and then 1 person in BP got 7th. And you can see that the amount of power pushed here is pretty crazy. I did notice Kingsway when I was taking the screenshot. I'm like, or when I was inputting the data at least, like, bro, 31,634 power, and you would have had another seal. That's painful. At least you got 10th place though. If we go ahead and scroll down, you can see 30 million points in 38th place. And then some of these people here that are getting like 20 million, they probably had like 2 seals from previous events. I don't know about the people pushing 15. Maybe they had 3 seals from previous events. But yeah, in 10th place here, WBA Kingsway with 59,968,376 power, which is pretty crazy. And now let's move on to the highest bracket. And here we are in the highest bracket, at least in terms of the 10th place bubble for getting the skin for free. And this is the server 169 through 176 merger. And yeah, this is the EIS merger. So pretty cool. They got all of the skins here in the top 10. Their closest competition here was 50 million power pushed, so not really competition, I guess. This is just somebody that was going for the skin and some extra seals. Maybe they had 2 seals already, and this was enough to get the skin and the adornment. And if you go down to 30 million power pushed, you can see 34 of them, so less than the previous merger with WB, but still quite a few people getting down to that 30 million power pushed, or getting up to the 30 million power pushed. Pretty cool to see. Yeah, EIS here with the 10th place player New 01 with 65,075,500 power gained. Now these are the servers with the highest amount of power gained. Let's move on to the servers with the lowest amount of power gained. Now one thing to pay note to is that this isn't the very lowest on the list that I made. These are just the 3 of the lowest servers that are in like the top 550 or 600 or something, or in the first 550 and 600 server list. I'm just doing this because these are the servers that have been around for long enough for people to have like migrated to and established kingdoms in. But like the newer ones, they're just coming out of their first season of Strife probably, so I don't think that migration is eligible for them, or maybe it is. Anyways, let's go ahead here. This is bracket 289 through 296. This guy here is pretty funny with the username still have 600 days. I think I saw somebody when I was taking screenshots that was like still have 1,000 days or something. That's kind of hilarious. Just telling people not to push past them because they can keep going, I guess. If I had 600 days though, I feel like I would have got another seal, unless you already had 2 seals saved up. Anyways, you can see here that the bracket is not nearly as competitive before, so we don't really have to scroll down to see who got 30 million power, or how many people did at least. But we still have the 10th place here with KOD Sophia, who got 15,248,553 power push for the skin in 10th place. And you can see here that the 11th place person was like 5 million power behind, so there wasn't really a competition here. Or maybe there was at one point, and like one of these people like bursted into the lead or something. But yeah, pretty substantial gap. You do see gaps with like 80,000 power push or 50,000 power push between 10th and 11th place, and that's always pretty rough. But at least people get seals now, so there isn't as much of a feels bad. And here we are now in the second least competitive bracket. This is server 433 through 440. You can see here that this one is a little bit competitive. We got 3 different kingdoms in contention here for the top 10. And server 435 got the bubble position here. Again, not a whole lot of competition above or below this. It looks like maybe 11th place got booted out at the last second or something. That's always drama. This is what I was talking about earlier with the slight power gaps. At least this person got 2 seals for their trouble, so they have the potential to get the skin in the future. And it looks like the person in 12th place was probably going for it as well. I'm not sure what these people with like 7 million power pushed were doing. I guess they just like don't care about their speed ups. When you're pushing power for this event, either you have way more power than you think that you'll need and you're going to overshoot, or you are going in increments of 5 million power. So yeah, so you got 3 people here who are doing the 5 million power thing, maybe like 5 people if you count this like 200,000 overshot. But oh, this is painful. Yeah, you want to plan ahead for this event for sure. Also, I think this person used to be in my kingdom. Maybe it's just somebody with the same name. Anyways, let's move on to the least competitive bracket. Alright, here we are now with the least competitive bracket, at least based on the ones that I'm including in this, although this is definitely one of the ones that's very close to the bottom for all of the kingdoms that had Heights power. So you see rank 10 here had 5,526,143 power gained, and it looks like there was maybe a little bit of a fight here over 10th place. Now it's not as important down when you're not pushing this much power for a skin. Like this person's only getting 1/6 of a skin in 11th place, but the seals thing is definitely amazing for the more competitive brackets where 11th place maybe gets like 40 million power, and before that would have been no skin, but now that's like a skin and a third of a skin. So yeah, definitely awesome for the people in the higher brackets, but there is pretty much still a big feels bad when you're in the less competitive brackets, but of course you're in a less competitive bracket, so you can't complain that much. Anyways, that's it for the little in-game images here. Now let's go and move on to the spreadsheet. And here we are now on the spreadsheet. If you want to make your own copy of this spreadsheet, go to the top left corner, click File, make a copy, then rename it to whatever you'd like, and press this button here to save it to your Google account. But yes, there will be a link to this sheet in the description, as there always is. Anyways, let's go ahead and just take a look at this little sheet here. This is the working sheet, which I use to make the conditional formatting rules here, which then I use to make the heat map. I have to always play around with these so that this isn't just like pure red, because if we did what we had in our first heat map here, we can go ahead and see that this first heat map was 5 mil, 17.5 mil, 30 mil. Let's go back to the working sheet, change the conditional formatting to 5 mil. This was 17.5 mil, and this was 30 mil. That's like almost entirely red. So I think you can see why I have to change these every time based on how competitive it is. I think that next Heights of Power, I will have to lower these conditional formatting criteria, but I just wanted to go ahead and at least explain that. I believe, no, that's still not correct. All right, there we go. I fixed it. I just had to go and check what the numbers were, and it was 5 million for green, 25 million for yellow, and 45 million for red. Let's go ahead and move into the new heat map now. So this is what it looks like. As you can see, the newer servers are green, or at least some of them are, which is to be expected, but pretty much the majority of the older servers, even with the new 25 million yellow power rule, are all pretty much there, or at least more than halfway there. See, we have a couple of outliers here, which we showed you earlier, along with, I think it was maybe this bracket. Let me go double check. Yes, that was the correct bracket there that I selected. That was the third least competitive bracket, at least of like these ones or something. And yeah, so this is what this looks like. I did share a screenshot of this on my Discord server and in the Call of Dragons Discord server, but of course if you want to take your own screenshot, you can also use the link in the description to do so. Keep note that the last time the kingdom's name were updated was this date here, and the reason why I did not want to update this again is because that's one of the more time-consuming aspects of this, to go through every single kingdom and to see who occupies the flame dragon. And yeah, this just cut a lot of time off of doing this time around. So I think if I am going to be doing this in the future, it will probably be with the kingdom names being updated once every 2 or 3 times that I do the heat map. If somebody would like to volunteer to do this, I guess you could, but this does just take a lot of time. It's like 3 hours probably, something like that, because you know it's 672 kingdoms. It's quite a lot. And yeah, but this was manageable. And let's compare this to the previous heat maps. Let's go ahead and just flash through these here, and you can see that even with the 10th place power being heightened every single time, the heat map is getting darker. So that's crazy. But like I said, after this time, it probably will become less competitive because it won't be a mage skin. The next skin is going to be an archer skin, and I don't think I've been seeing very many archers be used in the field. It's mostly, I would say, cavalry, mages, and then infantry in that order. Although, as far as effectiveness, I guess like infantry still is super important. But in terms of the most competitive skins, it's probably mages, cavalry, infantry, archers, I would think. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the new archers will be really good, and that'll get people to push for the skin, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Now, there is one thing that I did as well here, and this is this historical power gained tab. So let's go ahead and select this, and I just lined up the data from the previous working sheets. Let me go back here. I accidentally clicked out. But yeah, I lined up the data from the previous working sheets from the other spreadsheets. As you can see, I have one of those open here. And I just went ahead and put them all beside each other, so you can more easily visualize how the bubble placement has progressed. So the highest bubble on December 28th, 2024 was 38 million power. I think this was for, let me reopen the spreadsheet. I think that this was for 20th place. Yes, this is for 20th place because this was the one time they did that with the Archer skin. So I guess it's fair to say that this number should have been a little bit higher than some of the other ones. But you can see that every time it has gone up to where this 38 million power pushed is all the way down here now for the most recent heights of power. And if we go across, the comparison in December of last year was 14 million power to today's 38 million power. Now, of course, steals of power have been added since then, and this is also comparing 20 to 10th, so it's not exactly apples to apples, but still pretty cool, I think, to see the data presented like this. And it's also just like aesthetically or visually pleasing, maybe, because it is this like nice gradient that you can see going all the way down. I wonder if I can like zoom out all the way on this. I guess like I can zoom out all the way on it and you can see the whole gradient like that, but you can't make out anything at all. I guess it, I don't know, kind of looks nice. Maybe let me go ahead and do this. Just get rid of the borders. It's very hard to see on my screen when it's that tiny, but yeah, there we go. Cool little gradient. But that is that for this Heights of Power heat map. Again, the link will be in the description below, so feel free to make a copy and share it with people if you would like to. I did also have somebody reach out to me and ask if they could use this information to make a website for the Heights of Power heat maps. And if they do update it for this one, I'll go ahead and put that link in the description. I think I can also just put it in there anyways, because I think the previous one was in that on the website already. Anyways, if you would like to also use this information, you have my permission. All I ask is that you do credit the original source material. So, for example, if you are going to be making some piece of content with this information, just link my video somewhere that it can either be seen or somebody would think to look to if they were looking for this sort of thing. So for example, if you're making a YouTube video, put it in the description. Pretty simple. Anyways, let's hop in game and wrap up this video. Alright, well yeah, that's it for this video. I'll keep the ending here relatively short. It's nice to see how the Heights of Power event has progressed here. I like that they're adding these throwback skins, and I like that they added the Seals of Power. I don't know if there's anything that I would suggest they do to change the Heights of Power or improve it even further. I am slightly worried about in the future when they are going to be merging kingdoms, what's going to happen to the Heights of Power rankings, because that just means that a lot of the brackets are going to become way more competitive, even though they're like already all pretty competitive at this point. I think that making these Heights of Power heat maps has allowed like the alliance leadership in different alliances to go ahead and resituate their kingdom in a more competitive position for the skins if they would like to, which has just of course led to the competition dispersing itself, which I think was basically the goal of creating these. So now at this point I am worried about what's going to happen when we see people merge kingdoms, because all of these brackets have like 1 or 2 active kingdoms in them, and then the rest of them are filled up by, oh, that's a flying unit. I can't teleport onto that. Oops. Gonna have to ask somebody to bring out a non-flying unit. Anyways, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Just because I imagine some of these kingdoms are going to merge together, and you're going to have like 5 or 6 kingdoms in the same group, in which case the 10th place power requirement for a good skin is going to be like 60 million, which I don't think that's a good thing. I kind of like how it's spaced out right now. There's still some competition in most of the brackets, even if it is internally, but I don't want it to become like the Chinese servers where it's like 90 million or 100 million, which if a bunch of the dead servers are wiped out, I don't know how we avoid that. Although I guess the bundles are more expensive on the global version than the Chinese version, so that wouldn't really happen, but it would increase it. Anyways, that's my little rant here, or rambling at the end. I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out, and hopefully it doesn't completely ruin the player experience. I don't know if the devs are even considering this, but I'm worried. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.